She's the one.
This must be some. Come to the club.
Wow, she won.
I'm Paul.
Use of zoo bugs. But
Wrong?
And they'll rescue Rangers.
Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Snow White and I got a new mic. This is my second time filming this. I had filmed this entire video yesterday. I did my makeup, was super proud of it, stumbled over every single line of course. I had everything finished and I went back to look over the footage and my mic was dead. Apparently these mics will die and they will not tell you that they die. Beginner's mistake. Super excited to be here. Let's go ahead and get started. In the last video, we talked about toys that became cartoons. So today I want to go over cards that became cartoons, or CardToons, if you will. You don't have to watch the first video for this one to make sense, but we do have a reoccurring character that makes this a crossover episode. Let's go ahead and jump in by meeting our opponents. American Greetings started in 1906, a Polish immigrant with a $50 bank loan and a dream named Jacob Sapirstein. He began importing elegant postcards from Germany and selling them to local merchants from his family's horse-drawn cart. And in 1929, he was the first to commercialize greeting cards with the advent of self-serve store displays. Basically, American Greetings has always excelled in the advertisement department. Hallmark started in 1910. Joyce Clyde Hall was 18 years old when he decided to move to Kansas City with 2 shoeboxes of postcards and began making a name for himself, selling them and living at the local YMCA. Eventually, he was joined by his brother Rolly, and they renamed the business to Hall Brothers. A fire destroyed their inventory in 1915, and so they purchased a printing press so that moving forward, they could make their own products. And there's nowhere else for me to put this in the script, but I do have to point out that Hallmark bought Crayola in 1999. I thought that was kind of crazy and it threw me for a loop when I read it, so I just had to throw that in here. I would also like to point out that on both Hallmark and American Greetings websites, they have a history page, and on this history page, there's beef. Like in the year of our Lord, 2025, there is beef between Hallmark and American Greetings as to whose founder was the most poor. So on American Greetings website, they emphasized that Jacob sold his cards from his family's horse-drawn cart, emphasizing how simple it was and humble. And then you go to Hallmark's history and they're like, yeah, our guy was so poor he couldn't even get a horse-drawn cab to the YMCA. I don't know why they felt the need to put that in there except just to like one-up each other, which I find absolutely hilarious. Now that we've met our opponents, let's go ahead and meet our characters. For simplicity's sake, I thought that it would be the best idea to go over everything chronologically by character rather than going over which brands had which characters. I made a flag for each brand, and each time a character franchise pops up, I'll put the flag for the appropriate owner of the franchise, so you know which character franchise is from which brand. So here we go.
Round 1. 3, 2, 1, fight!
In 1967, Denise Holly Hobby sold her artwork of a little girl in a rag dress with a bonnet to American Greetings. She continued to work as a contractor through the humorous planning department under the art director Rex Connors. Bob Childers, who was a veteran concept artist and designer in the department, insisted that the character should have her own doll. No one paid his idea any attention, so Bob did what any one of us would do and made a doll himself. He showed it to Rex Connors, and the rag doll was taken to creative vice president Tom Wilson. Tom decided it was a great idea, and he approached Knickerbocker Toy Company about the Holly Hobby license. Knickerbocker licensed the doll in 1974 and launched the new rag doll a year later in 1975. She was made of cloth and had painted facial features. She came in an iconic rag dress with a bonnet and had yarn hair. The license passed to Tomy in 1989, and they continued making the rag doll while Knickerbocker created a line of vinyl dolls with soft bodies in the same style as the rag doll. But Holly was never just a doll. In 1977, she was the top female licensed character, appearing on anything and everything from games to furniture. This led American Greetings in 1980 to form Those Characters from Cleveland, or TCFC. Remember that acronym? I'm not going to say Those Characters from Cleveland every time. I'm just going to say TCFC. Holly Hobby did not get a cartoon until 2006, but she was the blueprint of cards becoming toys. And in the last video, what did we learn about toys? Barbie Sargent, who has probably the best name in existence, was a freelance artist for American Greetings. She created a character temporarily known as Little Girl with a Daisy for Valentine's Day for a line of cards in 1972. Rex Connors knew the card was popular and assumed it was due to the strawberry motif. He asked Barbie to create 4 more characters with strawberry-ish outfits for the mega test market. With her new redesign, Strawberry Shortcake was born and gained positive reception. In the later half of the 70s, Muriel Farrow began working on concept art for Strawberry Shortcake, including more fruit-clothed characters with dessert-named pets. She then designed 32 characters for TCFC's toy and licensing divisions.
Like a mouse.
The first doll created for Strawberry was a rag doll like Holly Hobby, designed by Muriel and made by her sister. She had freckles, red yarn curls, and wore a red dress with a white apron, green striped socks, and a pink bonnet with strawberry print. In 1979, when Kenner licensed and released the Strawberry Shortcake doll, she was a plastic 5-inch doll with flat hands, which would later be curled hands, and had the same outfit that the rag doll had worn with slightly different detailing. She was released alongside dolls for Huckleberry Pie, Blueberry Muffin, Apple Dumplin', and Purple Pie Man. Each doll smelled like their namesake, and only Apple Dumplin' and Purple Pie Man came with pets at the time: Tea Time Turtle and Berry Bird. And for some reason, when it came to smells, the Purple Pie Man was described as smelling like cinnamon apple pie. I have questions, but I'm going to move on. Would you look at that? If you watched the Toys Turned Toons video, then you would know that Bernard Loomis was in charge of licensing products for Kenner at the time. He wanted to turn popular characters into cartoons, but could not after Hot Wheels failed an FCC check in 1969. However, they changed these rules in the 1980s and allowed for characters to be marketed. So Loomis looked around for the first property he could get his little hands on, and he picked a Strawberry Shortcake. The World of Strawberry Shortcake is an animated television special produced by Murakami Wolf Swinson and animated by Toei. The special follows Strawberry Shortcake, voiced by Russie Taylor, and her friends celebrating her 6th birthday in Strawberry Land. The villain, peculiar Purple Pie Man of Porcupine Peak, plots to steal all the berries for his pies. It aired March 28, 1980 on independent stations in 90 US cities, spawning a new collection of toys, dolls, and a record. Side note, if you haven't heard Smile a Sunny Morning,
Smile a sunny morning. Sunny all the way.
I do urge you to look that up. It is not on Spotify, and I cry about it every morning, but you can find it on YouTube, and it is so cute. It is absolutely adorable. I could not recommend that higher. The other music in the show is great. I do love every single song.
What do you know about oak? What do you know about ash?
We'll listen to berries. I'll sing some more berries.
But Smile a Sunny Morning it's just such an earworm. And I promise it's very difficult to have a bad day if you wake up singing that song. Producers initially called the special Morality Play for Tots, and Romeo Mueller, one of the co-producers that was heavily involved, voiced the narrating son
Good morning.
and helped write the script as well as lyrics for the show. He told New York Times in 1981 that he viewed the special as a commercial before it had aired, and major networks rejected the special due to that same reason. I also would like to point out that they call Custard a calico cat.
That's Custard, her calico cat on the floor.
She's pink. She's pink. They can call her a calico cat every day of the week. She's pink. Deal with it. In 1981, the Lexington Broadcast Services Company acquired syndication rights to the special, as well as the follow-up special, Strawberry Shortcake in Big Apple City,
What a day, hip hooray.
which aired on April 10th, 1981. This special followed Strawberry Shortcake heading to Big Apple City for a bake-off at the Little Theater of Times Pear, a play on the Big Apple City being New York City, of course, and the Little Theater of Times Pear being the Little Theater of Times Square. Purple Pie Man
A porcupine pig.
ends up being her only competition and tries to win with trickery.
Someone's been tampering with my ingredients. Instead of milk, I've got chalk water, axle grease instead of butter, plaster instead of flour, and bubble gum instead of strawberries.
The third special, Strawberry Shortcake Pets on Parade,
It's the perfect place to be. Today's the day for you and me.
aired a year later, April 9th, 1982. This plot revolved around the pet parade that Strawberry Shortcake and her cat, Custard, are judging. The Purple Pie Man
Porcupine pig.
teams up with Sour Grapes to enter the parade and cheat, framing Strawberry Shortcake for the whole thing. With the 3 specials being a success, Nelvana would go on to create 3 more specials between 1983 and 1985. Strawberry Shortcake Housewarming Surprise.
Pack 'em up and move 'em out. It's time to move to your brand new house.
Aired in 1983. In this special, Strawberry Shortcake moves into a new house and several of her friends from around the world come to visit, while Sour Grapes and Purple Pie Man
A porcupine peak. Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a, rat-a-tat.
try to steal the international recipes. Strawberry Shortcake and the Baby Without a Name
Going camping. Come along and join the fun.
aired in 1984. This special followed the dessert-named children out on a camping trip where they encounter a monster. Purple Pie Man
A porcupine peak. Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a, rat-a-tat.
and Sour Grapes spend the special trying to capture the monster for a quick buck, of course. The Nelvana special, Strawberry Shortcake Meets the Berrykins,
Now it's the very, very best that we're looking for.
aired in 1985. This special followed Strawberry and friends getting rid of a smelly purple cloud with the help of the Berry Princess and the Berrykins. This special aired before the Care Bears movie in 1985 and was the last special that Nelvana would produce for American Greetings until 2003. Created for Hallmark in 1980 by Janet Elizabeth Manco, Shirt Tails were cute, childlike animals with t-shirts, sporting phrases that reflected the themes of the card, and they became a bestseller. Through mostly Hasbro, all kinds of clothes, music, stuffed toys, games, and even a life vest were sold. With the success of the card, Hallmark teamed up with Hanna-Barbera to create a Saturday morning cartoon. This series aired on NBC September 18, 1982, and ended on November 19, 1983. CBS aired select episodes between 1984 and 1985 when it was pulled from broadcast. The card line continued until it was phased out after the show stopped airing reruns in 1985. Episodes have appeared on USA Network, Cartoon Network, and Boomerang over the years. The series followed Tiger, Hammy Panda, Digger Mole, Rick Raccoon, and Bogey Orangutan. They live in Oak Tree Park in Mid-City, and they have shirts that reflect their thoughts, spending the shows teasing the custodian Mr. Dingle and battling crime in the STSST, or the Shirt Tails Supersonic Transport for those who do not know. In Season 2, Kip Kangaroo was added with absolutely no context, and more superhero elements were added as well. Interestingly, one of those elements was that their shirt would change to bright red when Shirt Tail time was called. You know, what other cute animal brand from a card company had shirts that glowed? I'm sure it'll come to me.
American Greetings announces Care Bears.
In 1981, the Care Bears were created for American Greetings. Muriel Farron, the creator who took over for the Strawberry Shortcake designs, was among the franchise's first concept artists. She would go on to design the first 6 Care Bears using the company's 6 most popular greeting card themes for their tummy badges. Once the concept was created, Elena Kercherik became the lead artist and 4 more bears were added. Co-president of TCFC, Jack Chinaki, showed both American Greetings and Kenner the idea, and it was a hit. Writers and artists from TCFC were joined by Bernard Loomis's new division, Marketing and Design, or MAD, from Kenner to create the toys and the series while keeping it a secret until advertising was done. Launched in 1983 as both 6-inch tall plushes as well as 3.5-inch tall postable figures were the first 10 Care Bears: Wish Bear, Bedtime Bear, Birthday Bear, Cheer Bear, Friend Bear, Good Luck Bear, Grumpy Bear, Love-A-Lot Bear, Tenderheart Bear, and Funshine Bear. The figurines also came with a small accessory that the bear could hold. Premiering in syndication on April 2nd, 1983 was Care Bears in the Land Without Feelings. This was sponsored by Kenner and produced by Atkinson Film Arts and animated by Nelvana. It featured the original 10 bears, the Cloud Keeper, and Professor Coldheart. The special follows Kevin, upset that he's moving away. I just don't care! And he runs away to the Land Without Feelings, ruled by Professor Coldheart. The Care Bears team up with Kevin's friend Donna to save him and the others from Professor Coldheart. The Land Without Feelings was followed by the Care Bears Battle of the Freeze Machine. This was syndicated in 1984 on over 100 TV stations in the US. The special follows the Care Bears helping a boy named Paul who is dealing with bullies, and they stop Professor Coldheart from freezing the town's children. Both specials were released on VHS and were among the top 10 best-selling children's videos in 1985.
Camelot is a place we all can go.
The Care Bears movie was released in 1985, being produced by Nelvana and LVS. It had a $2 million budget and earned $34 million at the box office. Reviews were mixed, and concerns were raised over it being a full-length advertisement. The plot follows the Care Bears coming to Earth to help orphans Kim and Jason, as well as saving a kid named Nicholas from an evil spirit. Its success saved Nelvana from shutting down, and they would go on to work on many cartoons based on toys. This would make the Care Bears the first film based on a toy line.
Oh, I want to be a Care Bear like you.
The main series, The Care Bears, aired in syndication on September 14th, 1985, produced by Deke and LBS Communications. The main series would follow the Care Bears living in Carolot, along with their cousins, going on missions of care while trying to thwart Professor Coldheart's evil plans. Only 11 episodes were made for this series. In 1986, Nelvana took over from Deke and produced a second film, Care Bears 2: A New Generation. It was released by Columbia Pictures and gained negative attention for unnecessary merchandising tie-ins, and it made $12 million against a $3.4 million budget. This movie serves as an origin story for the Care Bears and introduced a new villain, Darkheart, as well as the new bears, Harmony Bear, True Heart Bear, and cousin Nobleheart Horse.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Following the movie sequel was the Care Bears Family TV series. Produced by Nelvana and Deke, it was broadcast from September 13th, 1986 to October 51, 1987 in the US, and aired November 2nd, 1988 in Canada. ABC broadcast only the first 2 seasons in the US due to the People Meter, which was an audience measuring tool to chart viewership count, being too difficult for preschoolers to operate, because unfortunately, preschoolers don't do capitalism very well. Apparently, this was a problem for many preschool-geared shows on ABC. Looking at you, little clowns of Happy Town, may you rest in peace. The series was similar to the first, but replaced Coldheart with No Heart and removed the Cloud Keeper. We also had the introduction of my favorite duo, Beastly and Treaky. The series would air reruns throughout the years on many channels, including Toon Disney. The third theatrically released film, The Care Bears Adventures in Wonderland, was released on August 7th, 1987, and was produced by Nelvana. It made $6 million at the box office against a $5 million budget and garnered mixed reviews. The movie follows the Care Bears saving PJ Sparkles, I mean the Princess of Wonderland, from an evil wizard with the help of Alice. Nelvana would produce the next animated TV special in December of 1988 called Care Bears Nutcracker Suite. This would serve as the series finale for the Care Bears family television show. In this film, a teacher tells her students the classic story of the Nutcracker, but replaces the characters with the Care Bears. And instead of a rat king, we have Jafar. I mean an evil vizier. Is that the guy that kidnapped PJ Sparkles in the last movie? The special would air on the Disney Channel and received poor reviews. It would also be the last project for the Care Bears that Nelvana would work on until 2004. Let's go on a little side quest, my friends. Remember Barbie Sargent, the lady with the cool name? She had created Strawberry Shortcake with her initial concept, Little Girl with a Daisy. Well, she took American Greetings to court in May 1983 for the copyright of Strawberry Shortcake. She did win, and then she sold it back to American Greetings. From what I understand of the situation, she was suing them because they were acting like they had come up with the idea of Strawberry Shortcake when it was based off of her artwork, and she just wanted that known. She did sell the rights back to American Greetings due to it being beloved by many children. It was just about giving credit where credit was due. Herself, the Elf, was a character created by American Greetings in 1982. American Greetings worked with Mattel to make a line of dolls. There were 5 posable dolls, herself, and her friends Meadow Morn, Wood Pink, Snowdrop, and Willow Song. They were 5 inches tall and came with a pixie comb, hairpiece, wand, and piece of jewelry. They wore petal-shaped dresses with a little bell and had painted-on tights. Playsets and accessories were also created for the line. TCFC partnered with Nelvana and Scholastic to create an animated children's special titled The Magic of Herself, the Elf. It was broadcast in syndication July 30th, 1983, and was released only once on home video. The story is about herself, the leader of 5 female elves who are defenders of nature. She's held captive in an enchanted garden, and the rest of the elves come to rescue her.
Bing bong bang! We're the Get Along Gang!
The Get Along Gang was created for American Greetings TCFC division by Tony Bird, Tom Jacobs, Ralph Schaefer, Linda Edwards, Mark Spangler, and Muriel Farron in 1983. The gang was a group of 6 child anthropomorphic animal characters: Montgomery Moose, Dottie Dog, Wilma Lamb, Zipper Cat, Porsche Porcupine, and Bingo Beaver. There were 6 other gang members: Breaker Turtle, Rocco Rabbit, Rudyard Lion, Flora Fox, Bernice Bear, and Lolly Squirrel. But these 6 didn't appear very often in the show, and only Breaker Turtle had reoccurring speaking leading roles. The cards became popular, so they quickly partnered with toy company Tomy to produce a line of miniatures and playsets, and Nelvana, Scholastic, and LBS to create a Saturday morning cartoon pilot. The pilot was broadcast on Nickelodeon May 6, 1984, and it featured the gang trying to win a scavenger hunt, but cheating and fighting ensued. After the pilot, the series was handed to Deke for production and taken off of Nickelodeon and moved to CBS. 13 episodes aired on CBS from May 6 to December 8, 1984, and reruns aired from January to June of 1986. There was also a short-lived rebroadcast on Kideo TV from September of 1986 to August of 1987. The Sunday morning cartoon followed the core 6 characters in the town of Green Meadow, forming a club that meets in an old abandoned train caboose. The power of friendship and teamwork were the main themes of the show. In 1985, Pocus Hare and Pocus Possum were added, but the card line, toy line, and bi-monthly comic book series came to an end in 1987.
Here she comes, Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow Bright was created by Hallmark artist Gigi Santiago in 1982. He created Rainbow Bright, her horse Starlight, and the color kids Red Butler, Lala Orange, Canary Yellow, Patio Green, Buddy Blue, Indigo, and Shy Violet. Originally, the cast was all female-led, however, Hallmark wanted to add diversity. Red Butler was originally Scarlet Rose, and Buddy Blue had been Blue Moon. Stormy, Moonglow, Tickled Pink, and Baby Bright were added later on during the series. A media franchise was created by Hallmark in 1984 as an answer to Strawberry Shortcake's popularity. They partnered with Mattel to make toys and merchandise, and with Deke to create the animated series. Mattel was put to work. They created plush dolls, posable PVC miniatures, figures, playsets, books, bedding, and
More.
The dolls had soft bodies with large plastic heads and yarn hair. The characters would match their animated counterparts in both hairstyle and clothing. Shy Violet, Patio Green, and Rainbow Bright came in 20-inch dolls. Rainbow, Patty, Red Butler, and Canary Yellow would proceed in 16-inch tall dolls. I had Rainbow in a 20-inch doll, the one directly from this line. She's still at my mother's house. I need to go get her. Baby Bright was produced in a 16-inch doll that came with a bottle. The sprites would be produced in 12-inch tall plushes featuring Twink, Romeo, OJ, Spark, Lucky, Champ, Delight, Merrily, Flutter, Spritzy, Posy, and Glee. And I also still have my Merrily that went with my Rainbow Bright at my mother's house, which I need to go get. Rainbow Bright premiered in syndication in a television special June 27, 1984. It followed a girl named Wisp who is brought to a desolate land and told her mission is to bring back the color by finding the Sphere of Light. On her journey, she befriends a magical sprite named Twink and a horse named Starlight. She finds a baby and a color belt as well. She saves the Color Kids and brings the land back to its colorful glory, now known as Rainbow Land. Wisp becomes the leader of the Color Kids and they rename her to Rainbow Bright. The rest of the series aired April 23rd, 1985, following Rainbow and the Color Kids using the color console to spread color to the universe and the sprites helping to extract color crystals from the nearby caves. The crystals are turned into star sprinkles, which brighten or color any object or place. Their missions are often interrupted by Murky Dismal and his bumbling sidekick Lurky. Theatrical film Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealers was produced by Deke and released on November 15, 1985, being distributed by Warner Brothers. DC also created a tie-in comic for the movie as well. The movie made $4.9 million at the box office and was the only Rainbow Bright theatrical film to be released.
I remember when we tried to get away.
I can't remember that far back.
Reviews for the movie were mixed, leaning more on the negative side and being called out as just being made to sell toys to kids. The plot follows Rainbow Bright bringing spring to Earth when it has been stuck in a perpetual winter. She has to stop an evil princess who wanted a giant diamond that passes all of the light through the universe through it. The specials in series began airing on Deke's Kideo TV block in April of 1986 with the addition of new episodes. Reruns aired until March of 1987 when it was replaced by Lady Lovely Locks and the Pixie Tales, which we will be talking about in a little bit.
Popples are pals that pop out of pockets.
Popples was just the 80s pillow pet. I will take no questions. The Popples were designed in 1985 by Susan Trenchel for American Greetings TCFC division. Susan had helped work on the first prototypes of the Strawberry Shortcake dolls and Care Bear toys. The idea came from rolling up socks. Susan teamed up with Thomas Schneider, who had worked on the Care Bears, and they had created the first prototypes. Mattel manufactured the toy line between 1986 and 1988. They were plush toys with a puffball tail and had a pouch on their back, and the character could roll up and resemble a ball. The first Popples came in 3 different sizes and included the first 9 characters: Pretty Cool, Party, Pancake, Puzzle, Fries, Puffball, Pretty Bit, Potato Chip, and Putter. Before the animated series, a pilot was made for Nickelodeon. This pilot included puppets and was written by Shelley Duvall. It was decided, however, that it would be made a cartoon. The animated series aired in syndication April 5th, 1986. Episodes would follow two kids, Billy and Bonnie, who thought they were the only kids with popples until the new neighbor kids move in and have popples of their own. The popples are kind of like Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Cat in the Hat, in which they mess up everything that the kids do and just make a big mess, but in the end, they come back around and they help clean up. This series would end on June 6, 1987.
My Pet Monster from Amtoy and American Greetings Company.
To fill a gap in the marketing, My Pet Monster was created at American Greetings to be a plush aimed at boys. According to a post from Muriel Farron, creator of many TCFC characters, the original idea for My Pet Monster was from Ralph Schaefer, who had also worked on the Care Bears. In 1985, she was asked to create a female version that did not come to fruition. However, My Pet Monster was eventually paired with My Football Monster and made through Am Toy Brand in 1986. The two characters were made into plushes, which were produced in 16, 20, and 26-inch sizes. The plushes had blue fur, horns, and a fanged grin. They had orange plastic handcuffs with a breakaway link that the child could also wear, and the difference between the regular monster and the football monster was that the football monster had a t-shirt and a football helmet. Merchandise was also created with all kinds of cards, books, puzzles, and much, much more. The Inevitable animated series ran for one season on ABC from September 12th to December 19th of 1987. The series follows the pet monster with the most creative name, Monster, and he lives with a boy named Max. When Monster wears his handcuffs, he turns into a stuffed animal, and Max tries to keep Monster a secret. However, he has a nosy neighbor, Mr. Hinkle, and the monster is followed by the bee store who tries to bring him back to Monsterland. This show did boost toy sales, and most of the cast would actually go on to lend their voices to the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Introducing Lady Lovelylocks.
If I could bring back any failed doll, it would have to be Lady Lovelylocks. I love Lady Lovelylocks. The concept of the pixie tails is so cute, and then they went and added dragons, princesses and dragons. More dragons than princesses. More princesses with dragons. Mattel, get on it. She appeared on several lines of cards, and the TCFC worked with Mattel to create a line of dolls from 1987 to 1989. The dolls were 8.5 inches tall with long hair that came with long-tailed animals called pixie tails that could be added to the doll's hair, or it could be worn by the child as well. The first release had 5 dolls: Lady Lovelylocks, Maiden Curly Crown, Maiden Fair Hair, Duchess Raven Waves, and Prince Strongheart. Each one had a unique dress and came with a comb and 3 pixie tails. Prince Strongheart came with a cape and a hat, and Duchess Raven Waves had comb gnomes instead of pixie tails. Pets, playsets, outfits, and dragons were created for the line.
Hello. I'm Lady Lovelylocks.
An animated series was created and produced by Deke in 1987, being syndicated by LBS Communications and Kideo TV, replacing Hallmark's Rainbow Bright series on the channel. This series follows Lady Lovelylocks, princess of, you'll never guess, the Kingdom. Yes, that's right, the Kingdom of Lovelylocks. You know, between the Kingdom of Lovelylocks being where Princess Ladylocks lives and Pet Monster being named Monster, I feel like American Greetings was getting really lazy with their writing department, but that's just me. She had a puppy named Silky Pup, a pony named Silky Mane, and friends Maiden Fair Hair, Maiden Curly Crown, Shining Glory, and Prince Strongheart. She and her friends team up with the Pixie Tails to keep the kingdom safe from Duchess Raven Waves, Hairball, and the Comb Gnomes. It had one season and aired from April 4th to June 6th of 1987. With the 80s coming to a close, so had many CardToons. I tried to look into how much each company had made and found American Greetings income. It looks like 1989 was a good year for American Greetings and overall an increase for them. However, Hallmark is a private company, and in 1989 there is absolutely no information that they would give out, and so I wasn't able to find if they made more money, less money than American Greetings. I couldn't find anything. You know what I did find? I found their court documents from that year from the IRS, but I'm sure that means nothing.
Round 2. Fight!
The 80s came to a close and companies started looking for new products to sell to consumers of a new decade. Some franchises fizzled out and some sat on the shelf for a little bit. But before we go over the few cartoons that continued into the 90s, we have one that feels kind of like it just missed the tail end of the 80s.
In the magical land of peppermint rose, the most magical candy flowers grow.
Peppermint Rose was created for American Greetings and Mattel in 1992. 4 dolls were produced: Peppermint Rose, Lemon Kiss Lily, Merry Mint Violet, and Vanilla Daisy. The dolls used the Lovely Lady Locks base mold, and their makeup was slightly more detailed. They also were made slightly taller than Lovely Lady Locks and were closer to size in Barbie. The dolls came with a hat and a comb, and they wore candy and floral themed skirts. Each doll had a corresponding candy and floral scented perfume petal.
Peppermint Rose brings you 2 magic perfume bottles so you can magically make your own candy and flower perfumes. Just add water.
They also released plushes called Candy Blossoms and plastic figurines called Sweet Sprays. Plenty other merchandising was released, such as a staple line of cards, books, and, of course, scented gift wrap. An animated television special was produced by Muller Stratford Productions, Pacific American Corporation, and TCFC. Broadcast in syndication in 1992 and released on home video. The special serves as an origin story for the dolls. In the special, ordinary teen Rose Richards is brought to the land of Peppermint Rose by a dragon named Petalpuff. So once again, we have more dragons. She meets a wizard named Demi who informs her that she is the chosen one, and she will restore the magic and beauty to the land. She overcomes obstacles and fights an evil queen named Beetalia. In the end, her friends Daisy, Lily, and Violet help her defeat the evil queen, and they restore the land, being appointed as guardians.
Lemon Drop Lily, oh pretty and frilly. Miss Vanilla Daisy, kinda cute and kinda crazy. Merry Mint Violet brings here too, and we call her Peppermint Rose.
In 1991, TCFC teamed back up with Kenner to relaunch the Care Bears as the Care Bears Care About the Environment. 7 bears were released in the line: Bedtime Bear, Cheer Bear, Friend Bear, Love-A-Lot Bear, Share Bear, Tenderheart Bear, and a new bear that was created for the line called Proudheart Bear. Proudheart was a white bear with a heart-shaped American flag as his badge. The relaunch did poorly, and plans for 1992 were scrapped, leaving the toy line in hiatus until it was sold to Playlong Toys in 1999. The Care Bears family continued to air reruns on the Family Channel, Disney Channel, Toon Disney, and Playhouse Disney from 1990 up until 2002.
Welcome to Strawberry Land.
American Greetings teamed up with toy company THQ to relaunch Strawberry Shortcake to coincide with the Care Bears relaunch in 1991. THQ produced 6 dolls: Strawberry Orange Blossom, Raspberry Tart, Lemon Meringue, Lime Chiffon, and Blueberry Muffin. They were about 5.5 inches tall, and the body was similar to the Kenner doll, but the faces were slightly wider to reflect the updated art. Playsets from the previous line were resold, but each doll had their fashion and hair updated to reflect the new art style. Each doll came with a second outfit that would be for their 80s counterpart. A line of cards, a board game, and coloring books were also released with the new art style. There wasn't a series or special that was made with this art style, which I think is a real shame. I think it's absolutely adorable. It isn't the one I'm most nostalgic for, but I do think that it would have made a really cute television show, or even just a one-off special.
Bright, brighter, brightest, feel the rainbow. Bright as sunshine, rainbow bright.
In the 90s, Up, and Away, a now defunct toy company, purchased the licensing rights for Rainbow Bright. Between 1996 and 1997, they would update the characters and world for a new generation. Rainbow and Indigo would keep their names, but the rest of the color crew would have their names changed. The new color crew would consist of Amber, Circe, and Ebony. Rainbow Bright would have the large and small doll, however the color kids would each only have a small doll. The characters were made to look more realistic like real children, and they were made of plush and vinyl. The large Rainbow Bright doll would come with 3 pots of Color Glow paint and a brush. The small dolls would come with 1. The dolls did not sell well, and the project was shelved after only a year. Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealers would air on Disney Channel between 1991 and 1997, and the show may have aired on local stations during the 90s, but no new animated media was created for the relaunch. TCFC employees have said that the relaunch that they tried in the 90s was just too soon, and in the 2000s they noticed people were nostalgic for old properties again. So they got to work reviving the old franchises that they had shelved, starting with...
Round 3. Fight!
In 2001, Toymax teamed up with American Greetings to relaunch the Popples toy line. 3 classic characters were made for the toy line.
Popsy Daisy, Pitter Patty, and Zaddy Jazzy.
They were similar to the first iterations and were 13 inches tall. Each came with a classic Popples VHS tape, and this introduced the toy line and cartoon together to the new generation. They did not create new animated media for the relaunch.
Who needs a Care Bear hug?
I do!
American Greetings and Play Along Toys would relaunch the Care Bears in 2002 as part of the 20th anniversary of the brand. Artwork was updated and the bears did receive a redesign. Champ Bear's fur was changed to blue and the heart on his badge was changed to a star. Share Bear's ice cream soda with 2 straws was changed to crossing lollipops. The rest of the updates were minor, mostly including things like color saturation and badge symbol layout. 13-inch tall plushes were produced for all of the original bears and the cousins, except for 2 of the cousins, Treat Heart Pig and Noble Heart Horse. Several bears came with a VHS and eventually a DVD that had 2 episodes of the Care Bears family in the same way Popples had done. This is the Care Bears generation that I grew up with. I got a Cheer Bear for Christmas in 2002, and my VHS had The Gift of Caring and Bedtime for Caroline. With the direct-to-video craze at its peak, American Greetings would work with Nelvana to create Journey to Joke-A-Lot. The concept was first announced in April of 2003 with the movie originally titled The Care Bears and King Funshine the Great. The first computer-animated Care Bears project, the video was released on DVD October 2004 by Liongate Home Entertainment. It would also air on Disney Channel December 2004 and May 2005. The plot of the movie would follow Funshine Bear feeling unimportant to the group. He would run away and discover a town called Joke-A-Lot. His jokes are so good, he becomes the king, until he realizes that he's not funny, he's just being used. He's being used by a rat named Sir Funnybone as a way to get the royal scepter.
Mommy, he said the S word.
It had success both financially and critically, selling more than 500,000 copies by April 2005, and the movie was nominated in the animated DVD premiere category at the DVD Exclusive Awards, which I just found out existed. With the success of direct-to-DVD video, American Greetings and Nelvana went back to the drawing board for a second attempt. The Care Bears Big Wish movie was released directly to DVD a year later in 2005. This time centering on Wish Bear, the movie follows the same kind of story where the bear doesn't feel appreciated, but instead of running away, she creates new friends who like wishing just as much as she does. This creates Messy Bear, Me Bear, Too Loud Bear, and things quickly get out of control as they use up all of the wishing power, but Wish Bear sets things right in the end. The movie premiered in the US on October 17, 2005 on Disney Channel and Playhouse Disney. And fun fact, Larry Jacobs, who worked on Cyberchase, directed this movie. The movie was received well by critics and had promotional ties with Burger King. The line of plushes made in 2002 would continue through 2005, but we would get another relaunch just a few years later.
This just in! Care Bears have a whole new look!
In 2006, American Greetings announced a refreshed look for the Bears with a new TV series and a film. They had acquired the rights to the Nelvana properties and wanted to take the Bears in a new direction in-house. The relaunch would now focus on Cheer Bear, Funshine Bear, Grumpy Bear, Share Bear, and would create a new bear named Oopsie Bear. To introduce the new bear and to serve as the pilot for the new series, Care Bear Oopsie Does It was created. American Greetings, along with SD Entertainment, would produce the film with CardToon Films distributing it for a theatrical release in 140 theaters on August 4th, 2007. The movie would gross $34 million against a $2 million budget during its short run, and it was released on DVD October 23rd, 2007 alongside The Bears in stores. The film follows Oopsie Bear trying to save the Care Bears from the evil bear Grizzle, who plans to steal all the belly badges while trying not to get in his own way. The TV series was also produced by American Greetings and SD Entertainment and would premiere on CBS September 15, 2007 with an updated theme song and art style. A complete reboot, the series wouldn't have Cloudmobiles or Care-A-Lot Castle. They would still live in Care-A-Lot, however, it would now be a village with a big tree in the center instead of a kingdom. The series plots would still revolve around the Care Bears trying to stop a villain from taking over, but that villain would now be Grizzle. July 23, 2008, American Greetings announced that the Care Bears and Strawberry Shortcake would be sold to Cookie Jar Entertainment in an acquisition that was set to take place on September 30, 2008. Cookie Jar had issues financing the acquisition, and another company named Moonscoop tried to purchase the rights. Moonscoop sued American Greetings sued Cookie Jar sued American Greetings back, everybody was suing everybody. They went American on them. American Greetings would end up retaining the rights and start the concepts for a relaunch in 2009 called the Care Bears Power Team. This would never occur, but we're not talking about anything 2010 and beyond in this video. I may never talk about anything 2010 and beyond on this channel, TBD. Strawberry Shortcake! In 2001, Deke was appointed the executive licensing agent for Strawberry Shortcake by American Greetings. In March of 2002, they announced a relaunch of the franchise for a new generation of kids, just like they were in the process of doing with Care Bears. The characters were updated to wear jeans and were aged up to preteens from the previous 6-year-old characters. Bandai would make a new line of toys, which were 5.5-inch tall dolls. Bandai would release Strawberry Shortcake, Ginger Snap, Angel Cake, Orange Blossom, Huckleberry Pie, and a 2-pack that contained Strawberry Shortcake and Apple Dumpling. Each doll would come with a hat, a comb, and a pet. This is the Strawberry Shortcake that I grew up with, and it really stood out to myself and others for little details like DVDs that smelled like strawberry. The animated series would debut March 11, 2003, being broadcast by CBS, HBO Family, and in syndication. The series was also released as a compilation in direct-to-video sets bundled with toys, just like Popples and Care Bears had done before. Strawberry Shortcake, Angel Cake, Orange Blossom, Huckleberry Pie, and newcomers to the franchise, Ginger Snap and Honey Pie Pony, each live in their own districts of Strawberry Land in this series. Strawberry lives with Cupcake, who is now her dog, Cat Custard, and Apple Dumpling, who is now her sister. Plots would revolve around Strawberry and her friends having slice-of-life adventures with moral lessons, mostly about friendship. The series would go on to be sold separately from the toys and did well both in DVD sales as well as on television. With Season 3, the show was moved to CBS in September of 2008 following the 2006 redesigns. In January 2006, Playmate Toys replaced Bandai as the toy manufacturer and partnered with Deke to refresh the 2003 line. Characters were given longer, brighter hair, with Blueberry's hair being changed to bright blue. These dolls were 7 inches tall and featured new outfits and hair designs. Face molds were similar, but once again aged up to be teens. The line would receive mostly negative reviews, and Playmate would lose the manufacturing rights. On October 7, 2006, Deke released Strawberry Shortcake, the Sweet Dreams movie in select cities theatrically with 2 million tickets sold. The movie aired on Disney Channel and Playhouse Disney in 2006, and the DVD was released February 6, 2007, with 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment distributing it. While at a sleepover, Strawberry and friends travel to the Land of Dreams. They meet Sour Grapes and Purple Pie Man, who only appear in the last episode of the TV series, and in this movie are evil siblings trying to rule Earth with their army of nightmares. Strawberry and friends team up to stop them from taking over. The movie was critically panned, and the director has cited his own discontentment with the movie.
Strawberry Shortcake.
In 2008, Hasbro acquired the rights to the Strawberry Shortcake toy line. This relaunch would be the biggest departure from the franchise and focus more on the fruit rather than dessert aspects of the characters. Strawberry Land was replaced by Berry Bitty City, and the characters would be slightly aged up once again as young teens. This line would consist of Strawberry Shortcake, Lemon Meringue, Orange Blossom, Raspberry Torte, Plum Pudding, and Blueberry Muffin. The Berrykins were also brought back from the 1980s line and updated in this new style. The main line dolls were 6 inches tall and had a similar face and head to the Playmate line before it. Dolls came with a brush, a purse, a paper cell phone, 2 barrettes, a paper journal, paper ID, and paper wallet. Lots of paper in this line. Their outfits matched the upcoming 2009 CGI movie, The Strawberry Shortcake, Sky's the Limit, and the movie went direct to DVD September 15th, being distributed by 20th Century Fox. The story follows Strawberry Shortcake, who is now a smoothie shop owner. One day, a rock blocks the town's water supply, and the creatures known as the Berrykins decide to leave town to look for water. Strawberry and friends hear a story about a stone that spurts water when placed in the sun and go on a quest to find it. The stone ends up being a hoax, and they use the teamwork skills they learned from the quest to move the rock and bring back the Berrykins. The movie was negatively reviewed, but would act as the pilot of a TV series planned for 2010, and we will not be going over it.
In a beautiful land far, far away, an evil gloom stole the color one day.
In honor of the 20th anniversary of Rainbow Bright, Hallmark launched new dolls, plastic figurines, and playsets through Toy Play from 2003 to 2005. Rainbow Bright, Red Butler, Canary Yellow, and Patio Green were the only characters to come back for this line. The main dolls looked very similar to the 80s doll, with small details being changed, like Rainbow's hair no longer looking orange but being more of a yellow, and some of the dolls did include a DVD with one episode of the series, but no new animated media was created for the relaunch. We've come full circle with Holly Hobbie. In 2006, Holly Hobbie would finally get her own cartoon. American Greetings and Nickelodeon Animated Studio would produce a series of animated specials airing on Nick Jr. from February 10, 2006 to February 3, 2009. A few of these episodes were released on DVD through Paramount Home Entertainment. The series would follow 10-year-old city girl Holly Hobby, who makes visits to a small country town named Clover to see her best friends Amy and Carrie. The plot would feature different lessons about friendship and believing in yourself. In conjunction with the line, Mattel would continue to make rag dolls. They would also introduce a line of small figurines of the characters. A porcelain doll was also made available by the Ashton Drake Company. Some of these franchises would go on to have future installments after 2009 into 2010, but we don't talk about that here on this channel. Financially, it seems like Hallmark has always been considered top dog in the greeting card selling department, even up until today. However, creating cartoons clearly helped American Greeting sales in the 1980s, and culturally, you've got to give the win to American Greetings. The Care Bears and Strawberry Shortcake are still such fondly remembered characters that every time there's a new franchise and installment, somebody has something to say about how they thought it was good, how they thought it was bad, because they care. I think the Care Bears and Strawberry Shortcake could be updated every once in a while for a new generation to enjoy, kind of like Scooby-Doo is. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what generation of cartoon you're most nostalgic for. I'm planning to film the Quest for Camelot retrospective in the next few days, and I'm hoping to get that out in the next few weeks. Next weekend will be an Out of Context. I've been having fun dipping my toes into other networks that aren't Toon Disney lately, and I've been really liking the more obscure ones, so if you have any that you'd like to add to my ever-growing list, please leave it down below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've taken the time to watch through all of the video, I truly do appreciate you. Have a fantastic week, and as always, stay positive, stay safe, and stay tuned.